Before we welcome CHIUKWU OKIKE and invite him among our midst, let's keep our hands clean. And welcome him and invite him on Eke Day, his day. Ure Day, Afo Day, Nkwo Day. Today is Nkwoku. Today the sun, the moon, and the stars were created to light the earth. In the day by the sun, and in the night by the moon and stars. And today is 2 days before the full moon, being the day of the remembrance and celebration of the Feast of the Tabernacle. For now, we welcome you, O CHIUKWU OKIKE, to help lead and guide us and protect us. To help us not to speak in delivering this message of salvation, this message of freedom, this message of hope. And also welcome everyone who is watching this presentation from OGBAKO iSHI OBI Biafra. From wherever you are watching, it is about 6 p.m., a little after 6 p.m. Elekrishi. On this Nkwo Day, speaking from the Central Time Zone, Northern, which is the Western Hemisphere. The topic of today is that the Biafra struggle must be global, because the earth was given to the Ndigboo, the Biafra, from the who were created at the beginning of the earth. So, though we have ATONE on the half moon, which was the 15th of September 2021, we must continue to atone. We must continue to atone to our Father in heaven, knowing that knowing where we live in an earth trodden by the heathen, where evil is everywhere. Therefore, forgive us. Forgive us. And I am not going to dwell so much in my own statements, but I will base this presentation on the Don Devil and Wise Satan by none other but Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And this is particularly about us, knowing who we are and who you bond with. You bond with your Father in heaven, CHIUKWU OKIKE. Would you bond with all these hidden names and cheese? They have nose, cannot smell, have no eyes, but they cannot see, have mouth, but they cannot speak. The God of religion. Do we want to worship CHIUKWU OKIKE? Or we want to worship all these pagan and heathen God and the religion? These are questions we have to answer, as was presented by this video presentation by Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Also, it will teach us to know the real enemy, who our enemy, who my enemies are, and the hazards they pose, and the covenant between Igbo and their Father in heaven, right from the beginning, as a defense. And the first beginning introductory part of the video was begun by a rapper, a great rapper known as D.A. Smart. And the buzzwords that I picked on, and I believe those who are watching this video presentation from OGBAKO iSHI OBI Biafra should also, based on, look at, include black people were here first. The enemy is jealous or envious. Envy is the key and the first characteristic of devil, as he stated in the previous presentation from this channel. And also, they change our language and the names. They change our language and our names. And he mentioned Ruth, the movie Ruth, and also Kinta Kunte, Toby. The same way they tell you that CHIUKWU OKIKE is interchangeable with God, with the ground, with the Elu. The same way they tell you that Abiama, Ibrahim, is Abraham. Izo, you have answered me, is Isaac or Isaac, whatever. It doesn't sound like Isaac, but they call it Isaac. They spell it Isaac, and the convention pronounce it as Isaac. Now quit checking. The same way they call Jacob, he that was chosen, Jacob or Jacob. The same way they call Moses, or Moses. The same way they call Daniel, humble yourself to heaven. They call him Daniel, they call him Belshazzar. The same way they call Michelle, Ananiah, The same way they call Azrayahu. 3 of them they called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The same way they call you Stephen instead of Nana. The same way they call you is the same way they call you Toby instead of Kenta, the younger. The language, the secret is in the language. And he also mentioned they stole our self-esteem. Deuteronomy 28, verses 64. The same way they say a black man is prejudiced, rather than recognizing the fact that he is upset, offended. I examine the word mad because so that it doesn't get interpreted as being crazy. We're not crazy. We are upset for inviting them onto the earth. Ask him, come, he will feed us. Don't worry. And they start killing us, abusing and oppressing us, and even want to take the earth from us. Now they even say, according to Mr. Adams of the Health Ranger, that they have a conspiracy to exterminate black people. That's a justification from heaven. Ogu. The same way that they kill us, murder, pillage, and they say, oh, why would you self-defense? Why would you defend yourself? He spoke of self-defense. This is a buzzword. So when you're trying to do a hazard analysis for any operating system or anything that is being done, you have to use those words referred to as buzzwords. And these are the things, words that you have to keep in mind while you do this analysis. And then the next was Brother Akbar Muhammad, who spoke about Robin L.S. Williams, who wrote Negroes with Guns. Anybody who is interested need to look it up and read it and learn from the great man, the greatest, among the greatest. He was falsely accused, forced to exile, forced to Canada, then Cuba. Was one of the pioneers of the Cuban Revolution. Nobody teaches this to us. He was also the one who went to exile in Cuba, broadcasting to the southern part of the United States. He was in exile for defending 2 children, little children, 7 years and 9 years old. Babies, black boys, claimed to be molesting and abusing, or even the way they made it to look like they were raping a full-grown white woman. And he defended them and was accused of something he didn't, a crime that he didn't do, which prompted him from fleeing. Now, quick check. The same way Radio Biafra is being broadcasted into Nigeria from London. We need to see the comparisons. He spoke of Pan-Africanism. From Cuba, he went to none other but Tanzania in the 50s. And who was there? Julius Nyerere, who recognized Biafra. But where was Jomo Kenyatta next door? Nowhere to be found to defend Biafra, or even to speak up for Biafra. The son is the one that kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu today, Uhuru Kenyatta. Once in ICC, dragged to ICC by the black Kenyan people for commit against genocide. The same thing Mohammed Buhari is doing today. The same thing that the so-called Nana Akufo did last week, kidnapping Biafran freedom fighters and putting them in jail without charges for days and days. Because he connived with Nigeria and the enemy parading behind. As you may have to go and watch the previous videos on the interview between David Masenga and the Nnamdi Kanu in the Punch Line Africa to see who the enemies were. He was later went to exile in China, where he was highly respected by Chairman Mao. He met Ho Chi Minh, who explained how Marcus Garvey radicalized him in New York. And they taught him about freedom, and who freed the Vietnamese from the French. The same Caesar, French they use behind French, but the same Caesar. And now you see how the Chinese knowing now, this is some of the lessons that the Chinese of today should, and the Vietnamese or Asians of today should learn, that black people are the best people you can get. And now we are looking for our own freedom against partition of Africa. But where are you? And also he was I also heard of him about Brother Akbar speaking of Brother Robbins William requesting for a record that he loved, made by Louis X. And the name of the record was White Man's Heaven is Black Man's Hell. And this Louis X happens to be this great man that made this great video that we are about to watch. As the same Louis Farrakhan. And he also mentioned that Chairman Mao told him that culture, or this covenant, which they claim is culture, must speak to change or revolution. But he was swapped in 1969 for China as a proxy to the West. So when you see what China is doing throughout the whole Africa today, the mess they're doing, do you think that if the Caesar is not in cahoots or does not sanction it, that there would have not been a war? So don't be deceived. This began the revelation of the effect of the deal began in 1971 when President Nixon and his Secretary of State Kissinger were fumbling with a deal that is yielding the destruction of Africa, lands and people today by the Chinese. And then I met this man I had the privilege to meet this great man at the Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is home to me. So, where he was speaking to a group of young black students, including myself at the time. And this great man was so great. I think he died in 1996. Even people like Rosa Parks attended. Rosa Parks called him a great man. That his name will go down in history and must never be forgotten. See? Guess what I tell my people? This Biafra struggle, to get engaged in this Biafra struggle, you must know what you're fighting for. You must not be selfish. This is the battle for the survival of not only Biafra and black people, but humanity. Then the next brother who spoke. You will just look at it as you watch the movie. As you watch the video, is Brother Kofi, the hacker. He is the chairman or the president of National Black United Front, and he made mention in his statement. He said, every option is on the table. To survive, every option is on the table, and there is room for Pan-Africanism. Has anybody listened to Nnamdi Kanu? Even when he was being interviewed by David Masenga? That's how important this struggle. That's how wide and big, larger than life, this struggle for Biafra is. Our people in the United States, black people in the Americas, must never be forgotten. So the next was brother, which was the last but not the least, was brother Muhammad, Robert Muhammad, who Robert Muhammad of the Mosque 45 in Houston, who did a great job during the Katrina in looking out for our people in New Orleans, who was flooded and abused in New Orleans. And he mentioned saying, if you stand for me, then jump for your own leader, Louis Farrakhan. If you stand for me, jump for your leaders. Your leaders are never politicians. The freedom is not going to be fought by these slave catchers, sons of slave catchers, and warring chiefs that you claim that you rule in Africa today. These are your internal enemies. So if there is any revolution for change, stay away from them, because they have shown us that they're not with us, they're not for us, and that they're not going to make it. They ask for it, they will get it on their own. So we go down to a video by Brother Louis Farrakhan that is made up in 2 sections. And what you have to bear in mind is that this video is not for you to call him off his name, accuse him of anything evil, but everything good. It's a call for action for all to Daruala Yenka Daruala Yom means pray to me. Me we're speaking of here is CHIUKWU OKIKE Yom Kanjopo, to atone, to heal the earth. It's for all to atone, to clean the sins of the earth, to save the earth. But the section 1 of the section 2, if you look and listen word to word very carefully, you will know that he was quoting without saying it, that judgment starts from the house of CHIUKWU OKIKE. He was preaching to and making sure that the enemies, internal enemies, know themselves and atone or change their ways. And the section 2 of 2, the second section, was for the seed of the stranger. Your work is cut out for you. The seed of the stranger. Do not be deceived. The seed of the stranger. The stranger was not there at the beginning. The stranger does not know the black soil, has no experience of the earth, the black chosen rich manure soil that the Most High used to make his children in his own image. They were not there during the covenant. Neither during the beginning nor during the time of mercy. So my people, don't be daft. Don't be daft. Wake up. If you want to survive this plan, this orchestrated plan to terminate you the way you were terminated in America. If you look at the name CHIUKWU, name Chicago, name Apache, Cheyenne. They come, they twist all these things. That should tell you, give you the fruit of thought to know that the actors of the Hollywood painted red. It's in question. Do not be deceived by the coloring or painting on the Hollywood actors. You call India. They're not India. They are India, these people. And that's what they were told. But they put I in it. So to deceive you. So watch as your lives depend on every word. Not as you watch the Hollywood or Nollywood. And be patient to watch all. It is long, but when I watch it, it sounds like I want more. And I hope that you feel the same way about this great video presentation. Don Devil and Wise Hashatan. And until the next video for the Feast of the Tabernacle, the Feast of the Tent, the assembly of the people in front of the Woody Hill, in front of the Cameroon Mountain, Adamawa Mountain, at CHIUKWU, during the beginning, when the first covenant was made at CHIUKWU in Biafra, on the Igbo riverbank, they call them Cross River now because the water came from Cameroon Mountain to the east and the Woody Hill from the top. Enugu, that's the top of the mountain today. And also, in about 3,000 years ago, was in the front of Mountain Sinai. Tell our people where our people told, ask mercy to Sinai. That's to tell our Father. Till the next video. Thank you for watching. Dodrun. Peace unto you. Because we believe and feel that as a line opuo. All praises be to CHIUKWU OKIKE, CHIUKWU Eze. The Most High is King, and He is greatest. And we pray that He leads and guides us and help us through this great struggle and great journey. That's it. Ise.
Assalamu alaikum. I got two pieces I want to do for you tonight, Houston. The first song is called Black People Ain't Prejudiced, We Just Mad. And the second one is the official song for the Millions More movement. And it goes like this. This is about D.A. Smart and his destiny. This is about what's deeply invested in me. This about what they kept as a mystery. What is it about y'all? Black history. Back in the days when black men were slaves, we couldn't go off and rage because we was locked and chained. They constantly remind us without the boot. They put stuff on TV like Roots. I'm sitting there watching them with my hand on the trigger. My anger is getting big as they call me nigga. They whipping me and whip me almost every day, trying to change my name to Toby when it's Kunta Kinte. Then I look to my left and there stand my kid. So I scream my name Toby so then I can live. I can't take it no more, so I shut off the TV. Now if a white man mess with me, he'll be 6 feet deep. That's my, listen, brothers and sisters, I don't want you to clap, I want you to listen. All right? It's the words I want you to hear. It's not just for dance. All right? And it goes like this. If a white man mess with me, he'll be 6 feet deep. That's my mentality, brother, for what they've done in the past. They got rid of us then and still trying to get rid of us, men. Just to show you can know that white people ain't it. Emmett Till got killed just from whistling at a white snitch. They killed blacks and whites without thinking. He's so-called free slave, they shot the mess out of Lincoln. Yo, and he changed his ways. They killed Malcolm X. 2 years down the line, Martin King was next. The struggle has started. It ain't near over yet. Now Houston, understand why DA upset, because they'll take our inventions and say the white man made it. They know we got them faded. They got too much pride to state it. I hate it. Locked in chain us on a crowded boat. We peed and messed on each other. They laughed and made jokes. They took a black girl, hung her up on the cross. She was 8 months pregnant. Her hope was lost. Arms spread it wide. They cut a baby from her stomach. It fell on the ground. They crushed it and stomped it. Now how in the heck you expect me to take this? The chains was just too heavy for my wrist. Now what have we done to accept this punishment? Living for thousands of years in bondage. They treat us like animals. They locked us in chains, taught us to speak their language, and then they changed our names. But what did we do when they came to our land? We welcomed them in as though they were some black men. They bribed our leaders with rum and gold, and with that bribe, black men were sold. So they bring us to America, treat us like rats. But when they were in Africa, was it like that? Nope. I figured it out. The whole meaning of prejudice, the meaning of the word is just plain jealous. They jealous of the fact that blacks was here first. See, the white man came when the black man was cursed. All whites are evil. I treat them politely. I just mistreat those that mistreat me, because they really think that whites are supreme. See, they don't feel you are equal human beings. Now that's the reason blacks think they're bad, but black people ain't prejudiced. We just mad. All praise belong to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I appreciate it. Because it's too much dance and rap. We need to bring it back to what it's supposed to be. Sending a message to our people, like in the drum. We send a message to our people. Now I'm gonna need your help, Houston. We are rallying for the Millions More movement. Is that right? It's time for us to do something for ourselves. Is that right? we can see that it's time for us to do something for ourselves because they ain't gonna do nothing for us. So I'm gonna say the hook to the song, and I want you to help me out by saying, it's the Millions More movement. And it goes like this. It don't matter what set you on, what block, what city you repping from, what coast, anywhere in America, there's a movement that has begun. It's the Millions More movement. Y'all with me? All right, when I point at you, you gotta come on with me now. We got rhythm now. The message through the drum. Let's do it. It don't matter what set you on, what block, what city you repping from, what coast, anywhere in America, there's a movement that has begun. It's the Millions More. It don't matter what church you love, what religion you consider you certain of. If you a Muslim, Christian, etc., it's time to put it all under one rug. It's the Millions More. It don't matter what class you from, middle class, upper class, lower class, or none. This time bring your wife, daughter, and son. It's a family reunion. Headed up by Farrakhan and every organizing leader in the area, joining hands because they seek and they care for us, showing strength and the power of one. All right, sounds like we ready. So let's do it to a little music. Run that. The drum. No, sir, the next one. Now we can clap. Huh? Come on with your brother, y'all say it. It's the Millions More movement. Say it's the Millions More movement on 3. 1, 2, 3. Say 1995, October 16th, we set the fire. 1 million black men, we came alive. Cause there's some things we need to get rectified. You can say it was a national call, how we peacefully assembled on Washington's Mall. But just from the Million Man March, little spark in your heart, put a charge in all of y'all. Yep. It spun the million women, million moms, million youth, and a million family march, and a million reparations, and a million workers too. Even though we had a lot of marches, the condition of our people is not improving. A lot of our communities are worse than before. It ain't no time for a march, we should start a movement. We need an ongoing, sustained, constant flow, a divinely inspired thing for the downtrodden, some for us that's bold. We need us a coalition that can go against the injustice, Joe. And if you claim you a leader, be a leader every time the people see you, be on your post. It's time that we take the minds of the best we find and unite them quickly. Otherwise, our lives we have will just demise in the plight of these enemies. So I'm blowing my trumpet loud to attract the crowd. Let them know what the news is. October 14th to the 16th, be in Washington for the Millions More movement. It don't matter what set you on, what block, what city you prepping from, what coast, anywhere in America, there's a movement that has begun. It don't matter what church you love, what religion you consider you certain of. You a Muslim, Christian, etc. It's time to put it all under one rug. It don't matter what class you from, middle class, upper class, lower class, or none. This time bring your wife, daughter, and son. It's a family reunion. Headed up by Farrakhan and every organizing leader in your area, joining hands as they seek and they care for us, showing strength in the power of one. A lot of people be asking smart, can you tell me what's the reason we've been having a march? First of all, it's not a march, it's a movement, God. And the fact that it's a movement set it apart. From the Million Man March in 95, and plus the spirit of the march to stay alive in us, still living hard in our daily lives because we still feel we ought to wait for rights to handle the solution to our problem. When they part of producing our problem, can't see the solution to solve it, is we gonna have to solve it on our terms. Can you see where I'm going with that? It's not a problem with whites, it's a problem with blacks. And the problem, we must take charge to solve it, cause now responsibility is on our backs. It's a wonderful thing to think of every black man, woman, and child and sing. Cause with that, we can all reach the dream of king and do things human beings won't believe they see. We are the most beautiful people, as long as we are in tune as a people. Unity is all we need as a people, and overnight we'll have our freedom. It's the Millions More movement. It don't matter what set you on, what block, what city you repping from, what coast, anywhere in America, there's a movement that has begun. It don't matter what church you love, what religion you consider you certain of. You a Muslim, Christian, etc. It's time to put it all under one rug. It don't matter what class you from, middle class, upper class, lower class, that's none. This time bring your wife, daughter, and son. It's a family reunion. It's the Millions More movement. Headed up by Farrakhan and every organizer leader in your area. Joining hands cause they seek and they care for us. Showing strength and the power of one. It's the Millions More movement. Is that what time it is, Houston?
It's finally time.
Thank you, Houston. I appreciate it.
For the truth.
No doubt.
It's time for
I want to let y'all know I have that CD on sale for you tonight.
It's time.
Only $10. It's a whole album for you, brother. A positive, uplifting, and conscious rap. Right in the middle hour when you go out, come out there. I'll be out there signing autographs. Purchase a CD from your brother so I won't have to go work for McDonald's, all right? Holla at your brother, all right? And if you can't get it tonight, go to www.dasmart.org and holla at your brother that way. I love you, Houston. Thank you for your time. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Y'all, let's hear it again for D.A. Smart. It's the Millions More movement. All praise is due to Allah, brothers and sisters. We want to move quickly because I know you're very anxious to hear from our leader. We have a few more speakers that will come up, and right now we want to bring up our international representative, the man who has traveled all throughout Africa working on behalf of truth and justice, representing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. It is my pleasure to bring to this rostrum our brother, our international representative, our ambassador, Minister Akbar Muhammad. Give him a round of applause.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, first to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Minister Robert, and the national staff, the laborers, I want to thank you very much for your hard work that you've done, not only in bringing the brothers and sisters to this auditorium, but the work that you've done for those displaced brothers and sisters from New Orleans. And I think the staff here deserves a warm round of applause. They've been making it happen. I just want to say, it'll take me a few minutes. You just heard Brother D.A. Smart, and he was giving you what is called conscious rap. There was a very great black man who in the 1960s from North Carolina, his name was Robert Williams. Every week he used to come up to New York and attend the mosque and listen to Malcolm X speak. And he would go back to North Carolina and he would work on the black people in North Carolina. And then when the enemy saw that Robert Williams, a black man, was not afraid of them, and if they threatened him, he was going to get a gun and stand his ground, they accused him of kidnapping a white family. And he knew that in the state of North Carolina, a black man kidnapping a white family, you were doomed. So he's made his way out of North Carolina to Canada. And from Canada, he made his way to Cuba. And from Cuba, Fidel Castro, who knew that we were in a struggle for our lives, gave him a radio broadcast called Radio Free Dixie, where he was broadcasting to black people in America, bringing them to a level of consciousness. And then when the heat was on him because he was in Cuba, he left and went to Africa, to Tanzania. He stayed there for a while in a community of black people, especially the Panthers, who had moved to Tanzania. And from Tanzania, he made his way to China. And in China, he raised his two sons. They had the dubious distinction of being the only black men who could teach the Chinese language when he returned to America. In 1969, he made a deal and he came back to America. And in New York, we had a bookstore. And he walked in the bookstore and he said to me, my name was Brother Larry at that time, Brother Larry, do you have a record called A White Man's Heaven is a Black Man's Hell by a brother named Louis X? And I said, Mr. Williams, I don't have the record. It may be around. It was a record that Minister Farrakhan had made back in 1957. And he said to me, listen, he said to me, the lesson that I've learned in China is that culture is a part of us. Music, dance, and song. He said, but Miles said, if there must be culture, then let it speak to the revolution. If there must be dance and song and plays, when people are struggling, let it speak to the revolution. He said, and when I was in China, I could only think of this record that Louis X made, Louis Farrakhan now, called A White Man's Heaven is a Black Man's Hell. It was music, but it spoke to the struggle of the revolution. Now I'm saying this because you just heard D.A. Smart. Hip-hop is a cultural expression. But if there must be a cultural expression, it must speak to the struggle of the masses of our people. It cannot be a music that brings us down. It cannot be gangster rap, shooting and drugs and killing and calling our women out of their name. If there must be music, it must not be the dirty South, it must be the clean South. If there must be music, music must speak to the struggle of our people. And in closing, in New Orleans, they have a tradition when someone dies. And when they die, they bury them. The African tradition is that you celebrate their lives. We must celebrate the lives of the thousands that died in this catastrophe. But there's what they call the second line. And that's the music, the cultural nuance speaking to the struggle of life. So D.A. Smart, I want you to keep it up. And maybe you will set a new trend that if there must be hip-hop, hip-hop must speak to the revolution. Thank you. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's hear it for Minister Akbar Muhammad. At this time, we'll bring to the rostrum another strong soldier here in Houston, Texas. He's been on the front line fighting for our people, our brother Kofi Tahaka of the National Black United Front. Receive him.
Thank you. Brothers and sisters, I want to bring you greetings on behalf of the officers and the members of the National Black United Front and our national chairman, Dr. Conrad Worrell. I want to see you raise your strong black fist in the air as we say, Black Power, Black Power. And we say Uhuru, which means freedom. Brothers and sisters, earlier today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that in the Millions More movement, there was room for the revolutionary. There was room for the nationalists. There was room for the Pan-Africanists. And that's the wing of the movement that we represent. I see the students in here. We are all exposed today, whatever our ideology or whatever our belief is. Because of Katrina, we're going to have to stand up and act out these principles. Am I right? The students are exposed, the activists, the so-called leaders, and everybody is exposed. And the Millions More movement provides us in the nationalist, revolutionary, and Pan-Africanist movement room and space. I will call to your attention this as I take my seat. In the Millions More movement platform, all points are important. We are particularly interested in point 6 and point 7. 1.6 is for full and complete reparations. How many of you all want full and complete reparations? Let me see your black fist in the air if you want full and complete reparations. Number 7 says the freedom of our political prisoners. Most of us don't even know. We know Nelson Mandela, but we got our own Nelson Mandelas right here in America. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan went and visited one of them. His name is Mumia Abu Jamal. We say for the political prisoners, free them all. Black power.
Give Brother Kofi another hand. Black power. Oh, brothers and sisters, we're approaching that time. And it's my pleasure to bring to the rostrum my brother and friend, my mentor here in the Southwest region, our regional minister who will present to you our leader tonight. He does not have to introduce him because you know him and love him. He didn't put New Orleans on the tour when he came to the Southwest region, but we're thankful to God that even though under these circumstances, he has brought New Orleans to Houston, and New Orleans will be in Dallas, and you all will hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we're thankful to God that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be with us. And so without any further delay, we want to bring up our strong regional representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know him here in Houston. You love him. You know his work. Let's bring up our regional minister, Robert Muhammad. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum once again. Brothers and sisters, if you stand for me, what are you going to do for Farrakhan? You better jump, jump. On behalf of Muhammad Mosque number 45, the Southwest Regional Headquarters of the Nation of Islam, my laboring staff, I want to thank you for coming out and supporting us. I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you have sacrificed in support of Mosque 45. Even though you won't wear a bow tie, you don't wear a headpiece, you're always there for us. We thank you for that. And that's why we stand for you. Brothers and sisters, there's no way to introduce the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan because his 50 years of work have already spoken for him. It's time now, brothers and sisters, that we as this generation stand with Farrakhan. He's a man of integrity. This is all I want to say to you. The only march ever been put on in the history of America that you can go on the internet and find an independent audit of that. That's why we asked you for money, because Farrakhan's a man of integrity. You can trust him. You know him. He'll stand for you and he'll never sell you out. Brothers and sisters, I love you and love him because he's here. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Receive him, Houston. Farrakhan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Satan. Now look how he has taken the nation down. He takes the female out of the home. That's a bad move. That's a bad move. It doesn't mean that the home is your place. It means that the home is your base. And if you don't know, sister, how to make a home, you'll never have a marriage. Because you don't know what to do with a man when you get him, and he surely don't know what to do with you. We got a messed up situation, a bunch of dumb devils and a wise Satan. Now watch how this goes. War takes place. We need the woman in the factories. Come out of the house. When I was a young boy, a little while ago, Mama would take me shopping with her, and I would watch her meticulously pick over the fruit and the vegetables. And she would ask the man at the meat counter, bring it out from under the lights and let me look at it. And she would choose the food that she would cook for her children. When we got home, I never went to school hungry. She was up before all of us, got the house ready, and the breakfast made. And when I sat down to eat, I went to school on a full stomach. And at 12 o'clock lunchtime, I could come home because it was a neighborhood school and there was a bowl of soup or something. Then I go back for the afternoon session. Mama was home. I used to watch. I didn't have a father, so I don't know what it's like to have a male in the house, but my mother was strong enough for 2 men or 3 men. So I never missed it. But I want you to hear and watch how the degrading started. Men used to leave the house with their lunch pail And mama would get up in the morning and make the sandwich for that man, and he would go out to work, because even though it may have been a poor paying job, it was a job, and the money at that time had more value than money has today. What you could buy for a nickel, a dime, or a dollar, you can't buy it today for $10. I remember when I started smoking, I could buy a pack of cigarettes for 15 cents. And then it went to 20 cents. I could go to a movie for 10 cents. That was a long time ago. And my mom, poor as she was, could give me a quarter on my birthday and say, go to the movies. And I would have enough money to get in the movies and enough money to get a little popcorn and even a little change left over with a quarter. Now, mama didn't have much, but she was home. She went out to work sometime for white folks, cleaning their homes and whatnot, but she never left my home dirty. It was always clean. What am I saying to you? The moment the woman came out of the house, you helped to create another kind of business that put the home out of business. In other words, mama used to make the cakes. Mama used to make the cookies. Mama used to make the candies. Mama used to make ice cream. See? Now, when mama is not there, then you have these factories now that produce food, but you don't know how the food is being prepared. Somebody blowing their nose, you know what I mean? Scratching their butt and fixing your food. Go to the bathroom and don't wash their hands and come back and fix your food. See, if you can't see, you don't know. Now, as technology advanced, they could make fast stuff for you. Instant coffee, instant tea, instant oatmeal, even instant potato. Damn. Excuse me. But gradually, you, the female, were being taken away from what makes you who you are. Not only to yourself, but to your husband and to your children. Now you can have a pop-up this and a pop-in that. So everybody has a microwave. So you go and shop, but you don't shop to come home and cook. You shop to throw something in the microwave, and then you wonder why your children are bloated and why you are bloated, all in the midsection stretched out. You don't understand how poisoned you are. Dumb devils. And a wise Satan. Then he started taking off your clothes, sister. See, you had shame, so he had to do it by degrees. He shortened the skirt. It then came to the calf. Then he brought it up a little higher, just a little below the knee. Then he started bringing it up higher. Lord have mercy, the thigh is exposed. Now the child is coming to church with a short skirt on and have not learned how to sit. And the preacher is spying paradise on earth and can't preach his subject. And he don't have the strength to tell her, sister, I can't preach as good as I would like to looking at your thighs. See, because as men, we came out from that area. And it's natural that you want to return to where you came from. Now, the more you expose the woman, the more you lower the moral of the man. Because no man can look at the form of a woman and not be moved if he's a natural man. So when young ladies, young girls begin to see their breasts forming and their hips and bootylicious is absolutely magnificent. Then the dress manufacturer take her out of a dress and put the woman in pants. But if you watch the way the pants are styled, if you look at a triangle with its base and a point, your eyes may start at the base, but they go to the point. You see the point? Now, when Satan reverses it, he gives you an inverted triangle with the breasts of the female as the base and the crotch as the point. And the man is walking the street, and here you come. And your breast is jumping. Well, hell, any moving object is bound to attract a man's eye. And then his eye go from the base of the pyramid down to the point. And here we are living in each other's crotch like pigs in a slop trough. You can't see the storm clouds gathering. You can't hear the clap of thunder. You can't see the striking of the lightning of the end of a world, because Satan has made some dumb devil so he could keep on ruling the world with evil. I'm almost finished. Now you got the hip huggers on, baby. They don't make them no more to cover the hip. It's right on the top of the buns. Your underwear is in full view. And some of the sisters have lost so much shame. You don't care if men see your underwear. You want them to see it. Take a look at this. How does this grab you, baby? What is all of that for? You're drawing attention to your form, to the beauty of who you are as a woman physically. But a man never gets acquainted with the beauty of who you are intellectually and spiritually, because he saw your behind and he saw your breasts, and that's what he wants. He does not know nothing about who you are, and he don't care. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men, for the woman is the mother of civilization. Dumb devils, wise Satan. He's reduced our women to temptresses, knowing or unknowing. You watch a football game, which is a rough game. Men like football. Well, I can't speak for men. I speak for myself. I like to watch a good football game. I like to watch basketball. I'm a sports enthusiast. But then there's the sisters. When there's a break, here she comes. I said, what the hell is that? I come to look at a basketball game and I got to look at her. I go to see a prize fight and here she come in the middle of the round. As though I need to see that to know it's the 5th round coming up. You allow Satan to drop you down to a thing, not the creature that God created. You are a thing to be used for pleasure and discarded like the rubbish of yesterday's trash. Dumb devils. Wise Satan. Now the whole culture is gone to sex and madness and madness. Hip hop started in the South Bronx with young black men using the art form of the spoken word to transmit knowledge in a beautiful way of rhyme. And they were making money out of the trunk of their cars selling their records. Public Enemy was not produced by mass recording studios, KRS-One and all those conscious rappers. Then the money lenders and the corruptors came. They saw money, but they also saw if this rap continued in consciousness, the whole nation of black people would be awakened, particularly the youth. They know that our young people are the strongest generation that we have ever produced, so they must break the youth from the elder and then corrupt the youth. So the money lenders, wise Satan, just diverted rap from conscious rap to gangster rap, and then glorified the gun and the most vile aspect of black ghetto life. And then they took over all the radio stations. They belong to corporate America now. And the whole object of the radio stations have been no talk. So conscious talk, where you could listen to programs on the radio that would enlighten the community, warn the community, teach the community. Now it's, I want to get in your pants. I want to do this. I want to love you all night long. And oh, baby, you show us 24/7. Then it's the gangster rap. I put a cap in you. You ain't no gangster. You's a wankster. And then glorifying beefs between one black artist and another, east against west, north against south. It's black against Puerto Rican. So when Fat Joe talks about lean back, now there's a beef with Fat Joe and 50 cents, and we keep going, and our posses get involved in our madness, and even if we don't hurt each other, our posses begin to hurt each other, and the funeral parlors fill up, and the money on the rich man's coffers build up, and we become instant millionaires, calling our women bitches and whores. Dumb devils, wise Satan. Now, brothers and sisters, my teacher one day told me, son, he said, you can't fathom the depth of Satan. And when he told me that, I went home and studied it, and I knew that I was not qualified to handle Satan if I couldn't fathom his depth. He is so wise and artful in his ability to deceive and manipulate and take you off your course, that he even pledged to God in the Quran that he would come after the people of God right in the straight path of God, and he would make them all deviate. So we have Christian deviance, Muslim deviance, Jewish deviance, for Satan has come right in the straight path of God, right in the revelation that God sent down to reform the people, to transform their lives. They read a word, they hear a word, they sing the songs, but they go out and act in the same way. Dumb devils, wise Satan. Now here's how wise Satan is. America wanted the Spaniards out of the Western Hemisphere. The Spanish controlled Cuba. The Spanish controlled Puerto Rico. The Spanish controlled the Hawaiian Islands. How do you get them out? Well, let's propose that an American ship is blown up, killing American people on that ship, and we blame it on the Spanish as a predicate for war. And then we take what the Spaniards have and kick them out of the Western Hemisphere in the name of the Monroe Doctrine. Now follow me, brothers and sisters. Americans blew up that ship called the Maine, killed Americans, blamed it on the Spanish, and the Spanish-American War was fought, and Cuba became the playground. Puerto Rico and the Hawaiian Islands became the possessions of the United States of America. And if you have read when John F. Kennedy was the president of the United States and Fidel Castro overthrew Batista in Cuba and took over Cuba, the playground was lost. Now the question is, how do we get it back? And I have read that some of the members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said to President Kennedy, suppose we blow up a ship in Guantanamo Bay and say the Cubans did it as a predicate for war. That's right. John Kennedy turned it down. But look at the mind that would suggest something like that. Hitler did this. He burned the Reichstag in Germany. And then when that government building was burned, it was blamed on others. Then Hitler rose to power and then put into practice some draconian laws that gave him power to dictate to the German people. That's real. That's the mind of Satan. In 2000, Gore ran against Bush, and Gore lost, not because he lost the popular vote. He lost to a conservative Supreme Court. So on the way to his inauguration, when you usually play Hail to the Chief, people were holding up signs saying, Hail to the thief. and the country was greatly divided up to September the 10th. There was no unity among Democrats and Republicans up to the 10th of September 2001. September the 11th, the towers fell. Now you tell me how some airplanes flying into the towers, fully loaded with fuel, could burn the steel to such a point where the building would come straight down, like you see buildings when they are imploded with bombs or dynamite on columns here and there. "3,000 people dead. Who the hell cares if the country could be united behind their president and the treasure of the taxpayers could be raped to feed the military industrial complex, and a war could be manufactured?" That's the mind of Satan. And we are the dumb devils that are deceived and don't know what's going on. Those terrible Arabs did this to us. They didn't know anything the day before, but 2 days later, pictures of 19 Saudis or 17 Saudis, 19 Arabs came up on television. They knew so much 3 days after, but they knew nothing the day before. Come on, brothers and sisters. Then they now say they did know something, but this agency didn't tell that agency, didn't tell this agency. So nobody in intelligence, that's what intelligence is all about, connected the dots. So when President Nixon was being impeached and tried, the prevailing question was, what did you know? And when did you know it? Now, if all these people knew something before, but they just didn't connect the dots, and they allowed that to go. But isn't it strange? The 2 towers were hit, but all 3 of the buildings came down. There was another small building. It came down. And nobody said nothing. And the man that owned it collected billions of dollars from insurance. People in the stock market became rich because they knew something and sold off their stock in American and United Airlines. And they tell me there was some rabbis on a roof nearby that were dancing, happy when they saw the building go down. And then the enemies of Israel could be attacked and destroyed using the most powerful army of the most powerful nation in the world. Oh, brothers and sisters, we have been greatly deceived. And the greatest deception of all, may I tell you? The most important man in the scriptures of the Bible is Jesus. there is no being more important in the eyes of God than that man, Jesus. In the Holy Quran, which is the book of scripture of the Muslims, and in Muslim traditions, the Muslims are not looking for anyone to return except Jesus. And he would be with the Mahdi when the Mahdi or the guide came. Now watch this. The most important woman in the Quran is Mary, the mother of Jesus. She's more important than the mother of Abraham, Moses, Muhammad himself. More important. Why is Mary so important that the angels were arguing with each other as to who would have charge over Mary? You got it? Jesus is so important because as Messiah, please hear, this is near the end. As Messiah, he has powers given to him that belong only to God. In the Quran, God is the life giver. That's one of his attributes. He's the raiser of the dead. He is the author of truth. He is the light. The Quran says of the Messiah that he would determine out of dust the form of a bird and breathe into it, and it would become a bird by God's permission. He would open the eyes of the blind, make the deaf hear and the dumb speak, and raise the dead to life by God's permission. When you see a man born of a woman that has that kind of power, then God is present in that man to work on behalf of God for the benefit of all human beings. So if you are Satan and you've made a world of dumb devils and have deceived the whole world, when Jesus comes, that is the end of Satan's world. Because if you read the scriptures, he's casting out demons out of the people. And the demons, as they were coming out, they were cussing Jesus. Then what are you doing? Messing with us before time. Well, he was on time. Well, if the Jesus that you love has come, how could you be a dumb devil in his name if you were truly touched by the word of Jesus the Christ? We have been deceived about the most important being, because he reconciles the human back to God, and he raises the human being to the position that God intended for us in the beginning. And in the Quran, that position is Khalifa, one who stands in the place of God and rules God's creation by God's permission. And the Bible said he created the man and the woman, male and female created he them, and called their name Adam, and they were made in the image and the likeness of God. Now look at what has happened to that which was made in the image and likeness of God. We have become dumb devils under the deceptive work of the arch-deceiving Satan. We didn't benefit from 9/11. President Bush did. The American people did not benefit from 9/11. The war machine did. The Iraqis now have cost the taxpayers of America, the war, $340 billion, and there's no end in sight. Nobody asked the question, where are we going to get the money from to fight the war? But when Katrina struck, the Congress is saying, where are we going to get the money from? Poor President Bush. He was so messed up, he had to bring T.D. Jakes with him to kind of wipe his backside, clean him up some. Let an anointed man of God stand next to a criminal. Now wait a minute, before you say that I'm off base, I ask a question to those listening and listening by radio. Did the president and his cabinet lie that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Did they lie to the American people? Now, question. Did they know they were lying? It has now come out that they already had a policy to go to war with Iraq, so they doctored the intelligence to fit the policy and then used Colin Powell. Because he would be believable to sell a lie and start a war. And thousands of young Americans are dead and dying and wounded by roadside bombs, their legs, their arms destroyed, their faces twisted. They are there in an atmosphere where bombs have been dropped that are filled with depleted uranium, and they're breathing that atmosphere, coming back home with different kind of diseases that they don't have an antibiotic for those bacteria. Lord have mercy. That's a high crime and a misdemeanor for which the whole government should be set down. What did you know and when did you know it? And now in the wake of Katrina, it's all laid bare. America doesn't care for the poor. Bush and Kerry campaign, not one of them mentioned the poor. Now the poor are in the face of the world. This is not Darfur. This is not Rwanda. This is not Bosnia. This is the United States of America.
How much time? 20 minutes. But in 5 minutes,
okay,
you can do that.
So this is why we have to create a movement that ties together all black organizations, all our churches. We have to now focus on lifting our people from the valley of the shadow of death and lift them together. And this is why the Millions More movement is designed to tie the learned of our people to the struggle of the masses through a program that will allow their talent, their skills to be used to lift all of our people. But the moment I called, President called pastors and told them that they should not be a part of a movement that would save our people. Don't walk with Farrakhan. Yes. But please, brothers and sisters, you walk with me. If you know that what we are proposing is right, then you rise. You stand. Let's create a movement that will save our people. It's not Muslim, Christian, it's all of us together, for the flood doesn't give a damn whether you're a Muslim or Christian. Both houses were drowned out. So I'm asking all of you that are present, please mobilize in Houston. Not only for the day of, but for the day after. We need buses filled with black men and women, brown men and women, Native American men and women, poor men and women. Let us go to Washington and say to the government, that we are intending to repair the damage done by 300 years of chattel slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow and lynching, and 50 years of governmental abuse of our leaders and our organizations working for our repair. We're going to take that responsibility on our shoulders, and whether you help us or not, God says he will help us if we do what he has asked. Now watch the covenant that we have to change, brothers and sisters. We got to stop being dumb devils and start becoming the body of the Christ. Now watch. The scripture says of the Quran, Allah, God, will never change the condition of a people until they change within themselves. So the change is not on the president. The change is not on the government. The change has to come from us. But look at how the Bible puts it. If my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then, he says, will I hear from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal their land. Do we need a healing? Does America need a healing? Does the world need a healing? Then we gotta stop being dumb devils and turn from our wicked ways so that God will forgive our sins and heal our land. Thank you for listening, and may God bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Now, brothers and sisters, before you leave, if you would like information as to how you can get on the bus, find out how much it costs, it's very little. 713-741-2747. 713-741-2747. And if you have an internet capability, it's www.millionsmoremovement.com. And if you would like a DVD or a CD of tonight's lesson or lecture. It's on sale in the lobby on your way out. But if you're not here and listening by radio, call this number, 713-741-2747, and we'll make this available. It's called Millions More Movement, Houston, Texas. Thank you, Minister Robert. Thank you, brothers and sisters. May Allah bless you all as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Brothers and sisters, if you just hold your place, you know, it's always important that we have traveling grace, so can we just hold your place? There's just a brief presentation, and I think that we should honor the man who honored us with his life in this time. Can you just be seated just for a second, just for a second? Brother Minister, Texas Southern University would like to honor you. Where's our student government president? Where's she at? Come on up, Christina.
Good evening. My name is Sherelle Gillum. I am the External Vice President of the Student Government Association. Minister Farrakhan, we would like to thank you so much for coming here and gracing us with your knowledge and your wisdom. This is just a small token, but it's a token of our appreciation and our gratitude. And we want to encourage you to keep doing the fight for us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I want to say that this means more to me than a lot of things because it comes from our youth, which represents the great future of us as a people. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
This is Christina Sanders. She is the SGA president, and this is her vice president, Sister Yola.
How are you? It's my honor. Thank you.
The photo for the final call that they could all turn.
Oh, we have one more presentation to our very own Minister Muhammad. You are so awesome. You are awesome. Awesome. And we thank you. Thank you for being there for us all the time. We need you to speak at a function for us. You are always there for us. We want to thank you for coming to empower us. We need that so much, and we thank you. And we have a saying that we always remember when you tell us the blood is on your hands. And we have the knowledge now that you have given us. And we have to finish. We have to do what we need to do to be the best that we have to be. And we thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. One more for Congressman Green. Congressman Green's office. This is Congressman Al Green's office. He couldn't be here tonight, but he's been a supporter even before the Congressional Black Caucus of the Millions More movement. Congressman Al Green, District 9, and we thank Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who was with us today early at the leadership meeting.
Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of Congressman Al Green and the 9th Congressional District, Congressman Green could not be here with us today as he's hard at work in Washington, D.C. for us. He's helping to prepare to receive us on October 14th through the 16th, the Millions More movement. So to let you know that your congressman is an avid supporter of the Millions More movement, and he wanted us to take copious notes and make sure that whatever the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wanted and needed for the Millions More movement, to make sure that we make it happen. And I think that the brother deserves a round of applause for that, because very seldom do our politicians come out and walk with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the light of the day. So this is a special certificate of special congressional recognition presented to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in honor of, listen to this you all, 50 years of service and dedication to the black community. 50 years the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has sacrificed to fight for freedom, justice, and equality for you and I. 50 years. Give it up, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.
I want to thank Congressman Green and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for their wonderful support, not only of the Millions More movement, but their wonderful support of the communities that they represent. I am deeply, deeply troubled over the killing or the putting to death of our sister, Frances Newton, the other night. And I want to say to the state of Texas, please, you don't realize what you're doing by taking life as easily as you do, sometimes denying due process. And there is a price that you will pay for that. I don't know where Rita is going, but the Quran teaches us that whenever God sends you a messenger, then he seizes the people with distress and affliction that they might humble themselves. And the Quran says, one calamity after another. As fast as you think you're getting a leg up on one calamity, there'll be another one coming until every knee bows and every tongue confesses, not that Satan is Lord, but that God is Lord of all. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, let's stand, let's close.